Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I've been working since I was 13 years of age.
And that's actually a good thing.
My husband just bought me a set of golf clubs. I have played. I'm not the best, but so I want to get a little better and just go out and golfing a lot more with him.
I'm a person that's always doing something. I'm a pretty active person. I cannot stay at home, just sit around. That's not in the books.
I grew up here in El Centro, a graduate of Central, and I'm a Spartan.
You know, it's never where you are, it's who you're with that matters.
Welcome to Valley Vibes, your show about culture, arts, and happenings in the Imperial Valley from a youth perspective. I'm Dr. Tom Tackey, the creator and executive producer of Valley Vibes. We at Valley Vibes are dedicated to the youth and culture of the Valley, and there certainly is much to be said about the involvement of teachers in the development of the Valley's youth. A great teacher can leave a student with a love of learning and the subject matter that'll last them a lifetime. So today, we are going to be honoring 3 retiring teachers from the Central Union High School District, Carlos Caro, Jeanine Enz, and Grant Cutting. After years of service, dedication, and commitment to their students, they leave behind a legacy that extends far beyond the classroom walls. Through their guidance, encouragement, and passion for education, they have helped shape generations of young people in our community. This episode is dedicated to celebrating their careers, recognizing the impact they have made, and thanking them for the countless lives they have touched throughout their years of service. From all of us at Valley Vibes and throughout the Imperial Valley, thank you for your dedication, your mentorship, and your lasting contributions to the future of our community. Welcome to Valley Vibes. Our next subject is Carlos Caro, who is a social sciences teacher at Southwest High School here in El Centro. Carlos, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Tom?
I'm great. You know, you and I have known each other for quite some time, and I'm kind of surprised you're retiring, but, you know, how's that going to be?
Well, it's, I hope good. I think good. I'm a little nervous about it. I've been working since I was 13 years of age, so it's been a long time coming. I am currently 64, going on 65 in December, so I think it's time to try something else while, I'm still physically able to do things.
Absolutely. I understand that. You know, I've got just a couple years on you, but that's it, you know. But like you know, started work early, but I know a little bit about you, but why don't you tell all these listeners about all the different things that you did? Because you didn't start as a teacher at 13. What did you start as?
Well, probably the first job I had was I had a paper route, and I worked at a small store. It was a meat market in Calexico on Imperial Avenue, La Mexicana. It belonged to a cousin of mine. And so I started working there, packing potato sacks and putting them on the display. And I'd go, 2-3 days a week or during the weekend. And, then after that, I had some other odd jobs. I worked at Pepe's Scales here in El Centro when I was in high school, weighing trucks and selling ice. And then in the summers, I would go and work in the packing sheds, the cantaloupe packing sheds, tomato packing sheds, until I started going to school. And so those were some of the first jobs that I had as a kid.
So you're not immune from hard work, real work, huh?
Well, we've done a lot of things, After that, we went to school. I went to school in Mexico. During that time, after graduating from high school, I was undecided on what I wanted to do. I really wanted to be an automotive engineer. That was my dream back then. But I was told that was not possible for me. Things were different back in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I was going to join the Air Force so that I can use that pathway to maybe get something close to what I wanted to do. My dad invited me to go work and go to school in Mexico. My Spanish was poor. I had lost my first language. And so I was kind of also nervous about doing that. But I ended up going to Mexico. I had to basically start all over. And then I took the exam to get into the university to study law. And so eventually I did pass the exam. I was admitted, and I studied law for the Autónoma de Baja California in Tijuana. And I did that for 6 years. After I finished law school, or even before I finished, I was invited to work for the state government, for the criminal courts. I worked there for about 4 years. And after that, I was invited to work for the federal government, where I worked for an institution in Mexico, La Hacienda, or SAT, what they call it. And what we did, we were auditors. It's an agency very similar to the IRS in Mexico. And I was department head of foreign trade over there.
Wow, that's a very different pathway. So interesting, but different. So at what point did you decide that you wanted to become a teacher? I mean, what the heck?
Well, after I finished school in Mexico, university, I had the opportunity to make some really good friends. A couple of them were judges, and they were instructors or professors at the university. And so sometimes I would sub for them. They would ask me to go take over the class. And that's when I had my first experience in regards to carrying out a class, teaching. So after 11 years of working for the federal government, my position was up, and my wife spoke about what we would do next. We either stay in Mexico and practice law. My wife is also an attorney in Mexico, or come to the United States and try something different. And so we decided to come over here, and I had to go back to school. I had all my transcripts from Mexico reevaluated here in the United States. I had to take some coursework, went to IBC, San Diego State, and eventually got a teaching credential in the social science area.
That's really cool. And how many years have you been with the Central Union High School District?
I've been working for the Central Union High School District since October of 2001.
All right. So was that the first district you worked for over on this side?
Yes. It was the first time I started working for any school district here in the United States, California. Correct.
Incredible. So you've been with the district the whole time. So 25 years with the district. And I know you were over at Central for a few years.
That's correct. I was at Central for a few years in a different capacity, not as a teacher. I was subbing, and then they asked me to carry on this other little position there. And then finally, I was finishing up my credentialing, and Mr. Joe Evangelist, who was the principal back in the day, interviewed me for a position here, and so did Ms. Jones at Central. And so I ended up getting the position here. And one of the things that did help me was that I was willing to get a BCLAT, which is a credential to teach a bilingual class.
Right. That's very cool. So, sounds like a world of work. I guess I do understand why you're going to retire. But so what are you going to do now? I mean, you're used to punching that clock and all that coming in. Yeah, you have your summers off, but do you really? But what's up? What's in Carlos's retirement time?
Tom, I'm a person that's always doing something. I'm a pretty active person. I cannot stay at home, just sit around. That's not in the books. I like the school. I like the my colleagues. I like the atmosphere. I like the relationship with the students. So I will probably be subbing a day or two, a few days a week. But the retirement allows me to choose when I want to work. I want to work, but I want to choose to, when I come to work. If I want to do something else, if I'm out on, on a trip with my wife, I don't have, the obligation to be back by a certain time, and I want that freedom. That's why I chose to retire, not because I can't, I'm not able to, not because I'm sick or anything, or I feel, done. I just want to try something else.
I completely understand that. I don't know if the listeners know this, probably most of them don't, but you and I did kind of an epic trip together back in 2012, 14 years ago. And we went from here to Copan Ruins in Honduras and on motorcycles. It was a very cool trip. What do you remember? I guess I'm not really big on the most things, but from that trip, what did that do in terms of your teaching?
Wow. Well, first of all, before the teaching, you get to spend time with other people for quite some time. That trip was 30 plus days. We learned a lot about each other and dealing with people that are different. We went to different places and met different people, ate different foods, different countries, different cultures. Even among the same within the country of Mexico, you find different cultures, and so you open up your mind to many ideas, and so you come back to an institution such, a school where we have people that come from Mexico that might even be, I have had students that come from Guatemala, I've had students that come from Venezuela, Colombia. And so I feel that I can make a better connection with them. I can talk to them about, I've been to this place. And I remember going there and they'll tell me, yes, this place is such and such. I never lived there. And so that connection with students feels really, to me, it's exciting. It's really great, that I meet students that come from places where I've been, and not a lot of people are willing to go to. It's complicated to take a trip.
It's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be willing to take a trip 30 days. Your family's back home, and it becomes complicated for sure.
Right, and I think prior to our trip, I had a lot of people saying, "Oh, don't go, it's too dangerous," and all that. And my feeling prior to the trip was, if you want to find problems, you can find problems anywhere you go. It wasn't like we were seeking those out, and the problems didn't seek us out either. I found that people were genuinely interested in what we were doing, and often gave us assistance and ideas and stuff. It was, it was reassuring that humanity is good.
Yeah, that's correct. And we also had an opportunity to open up an invitation for this trip, and we had a friend that, he became a friend. He came all the way. He rode from New York. Ended up here in the Imperial Valley, in the middle of right in the beginning of the summer, and it was a shock to him. We were already experiencing 105, 110 degrees, and it was the first time that he ever went over to Mexico. He didn't speak any Spanish, so I think the first thing we did was take him across the border. First of all, get his paperwork done for his motorcycle, and we did all of ours, and we took him to go eat tacos in Mexicali. But he ended up staying in Honduras. He liked it so much, and he found himself a girlfriend, married her, and his whole life changed with that trip. So yeah, it was I guess you can call it a life-changing experience. We learned a lot, we experienced a lot, it's once in a lifetime thing. It's really great.
Yeah, it really was. I think, once we got back, it was, the coming off of that kind of adventure or adrenaline high, or I'm not really exactly sure how to describe it, but, coming back to, real life and schedules and your day to day took a bit of adjustment, at least for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I guess you need to slow down. We were velocitized, right? If you want to use that word.
Right.
We were on this trip and coming back to, small town like El Centro, very different, took, yeah. It's something, I guess, an experience we also wanted to tell everybody about because it was very special. A lot of people were interested in hearing what we had to say and where we went. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And so, in retirement, you have kids, you have grandkids. What's in their lives with your retirement?
Well, I have a beautiful wife that I love very much, and I want to spend a lot more time with her. I want to travel with her. We have 2 children, my son and my daughter. My son is here. They're both nurses.
Okay.
And so my son works for one of the local hospitals here. And my daughter, she's in Florida, and we miss her a lot. And both of them have blessed us with grandchildren. My son has 2 beautiful boys, and my daughter has given me a beautiful granddaughter. And so this summer, like we did last year, we're planning to drive to Orlando, where she lives now. And we're going to spend, I guess, as much time as we want until they kick us out, I guess. And then we'll come back. But we have some plans in September. We'll be driving up the coast to the Redwood Forest. We have a little trailer. So I want to do some traveling with my wife, spend some time, her and I, and probably get her to know her more. We've done this before. It was a cool experience to spend, 10 hours in the vehicle, her and I, traveling. And some people might lose patience or whatever. But, we did it, and we entertained ourselves. We had fun. And so I want to do it some more. And so far, that's one of the plans that I have is to travel with my wife and go see the kids. Take the kids when we can. We like going camping and hiking here to the local mountains. So we do that pretty often.
Sounds pretty good, Carlos. So, I appreciate your time here, and I wish you the best in retirement, and I know it's going to be great.
Thanks, Tom. We're good friends. We'll continue to be good friends, and whenever we can, if it's possible, take another little motorcycle ride, local one, and maybe look at other things that we can do. I'm planning to build a little pickup truck, and maybe I know that you have some experience in that. Maybe you come over and help.
You got it, Carlos. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tom.
We are the Goon Squad and we're coming to town. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. Listen to me, don't listen to me. Talk to me, don't talk to me. Dance with me, don't dance with me. No. Beep, beep. It's a brand new talk, but it's not very clear.
I used to think maybe you love me. Now, baby, I'm sure. And I just can't wait till the day when you knock on my door. Now, every time I go for the mailbox, I gotta hold myself down. 'Cause I just can't wait till you write me you're coming around.
Welcome back. I'm sitting here with Jeanine Enz. How are you doing, Jeanine?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great. why don't you tell us a little bit about, your journey to getting to retirement? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up here in El Centro, graduate of Central, and I'm a Spartan.
All right, that's fantastic. What year did you graduate?
In 1985.
Fantastic as well. I can relate. That was the year I graduated from the University of Portland with a master's, and I
Very
entered
nice.
into the profession. So fantastic. So tell us a little bit about why did you want to become a teacher?
Well, I wasn't quite sure that I wanted to be a teacher. I think maybe when I was younger, I probably did, but then I kind of went back and forth as I was, exploring different options. In high school, I would volunteer with a friend who worked at IVCEC, Imperial Valley Center for Exceptional Children's.
Right.
And she started the first community-based classroom in Calexico High School. So during my summers, my best friend and I, we would work with her. So that was always an interest that I had. So I was going to pursue that. Then I went to IBC and kind of pursued other things, but eventually fell back to the teaching.
And that was in special ed?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's a tough road to go. I mean, you have to take so many classes and so many different specialties, if you will.
Yes, and back then you had to get your general ed credential first and then get your special ed credential.
Right. I'm pretty aware of that. And it's just, for the listeners, it's just a huge amount of extra classes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, not like nowadays if you decide to go into special education, you just go straight into getting your special ed credential. There's not the extra classes that you have to take. So
True.
Yeah.
True. So you graduated from SDSU or?
Yes, I did. I graduated from SDSU and ended up getting a job because volunteering is something that I highly recommend, even though you don't get paid, but it gives you the work experience and it also gives you experience and contacts with people who will hire you. So
That's really, really true. Experience is everything. It really is. And working with, like you say, it's experience and relationships. I think relationships are so important in our profession.
Definitely.
And, that is great. So where was your first job?
My first job was at King's School. Because of all my volunteering and stuff with the County Office of Education, at the time it was called the SH program, severely handicapped. Now it's been changed to the ESN, Extensive Student Needs. And I was applying for a job at IVCEC with the special needs students. And I had also been working as a substitute aide in just different roles, and I got called in a lot to sub as an interpreter, sign language interpreter. And so I didn't know any sign language, but they liked me because when I was with the students, I took notes, and where I guess a lot of the other subs that were in there, they didn't do a whole lot, and so they saw my initiative, and the teacher at the time, the kids would teach me sign language, the teacher would teach me sign language, and I picked up on it very quickly.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, better than an oral language. I had a very difficult time learning Spanish in high school, but the visual language of sign language, I caught on it pretty quickly.
Impressive. Oh.
So, like I said, when I applied at the County Office of Ed, I applied for one of the severely handicapped classes, or the ESN classes, and the teacher for the deaf and hard of hearing at King's School, this was the second year King had been open, Martin Luther King, in 91, that teacher left. And so because of, again, my experience in volunteering and subbing as an aide, and I was pursuing my, I'd already finished my bachelor's and I was starting my teaching credential programs, and they decided to put me into the deaf and hard of hearing classroom. So little switch of plans there, which I was fine with because I really, really enjoyed working with the students. And so I was at King for my first 5 years.
Okay.
So with the deaf and hard of hearing students, so I had first graders through sixth grade.
Wow. Cool. And where'd you go from there?
From there, well, I was still working on my credential. I had finished my general ed multiple subject credential. Then this was back in the day before you could take classes online. And down here, there was no special ed program for, to teach the deaf and hard of hearing for the communication handicap credential. So if I wanted to continue with this, I had to commute back and forth to San Diego, or I had to make a change. And I had been on an emergency credential, and my emergency credential had kind of ran out because I had no other classes to take. So I had to make a decision, and unfortunately, even though I loved the job, loved the class, I was newly married and didn't want to make the commute back and forth to San Diego.
Right.
So I decided to make a change since I had my general ed credential, multiple subject. I applied for El Centro Elementary School District. They hired me as a sixth grade teacher at Kennedy Middle School. And that was my next place that I went to.
That amount of windshield time and commuting through the mountains, it's,
Yes.
I can totally relate. So Kennedy worked well for you?
Yeah, I loved Kennedy. Kennedy's one of my favorite places that I worked. I was there for 10 years. My first year there, I was a sixth grade teacher, and the RSP teacher that was at Kennedy, she was kind of in and out. She had some health issues, so she was not coming back the next year, and our population at Kennedy was kind of shrinking. We only had 3 sixth grade classes at the time. And so they were going to move me to second grade. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure I really want the little ones. And so they offered me a temporary position to stay at Kennedy to step into that special ed teacher's role for the RSP. And I said, yes, I would take it. And then at the end of that year, they gave me the option to either stay if she wasn't coming back, or, they would move me someplace else. And she didn't come back. She took a leave of absence. And so I stayed there at Kennedy for the next 9 years as an RSP teacher. I taught math, and I loved it.
Right. And you came to the Central District when?
I've been here for 14 years. I came in here in 2012.
Oh, wow.
So
all right.
I've had other places. I think I had met you at ICOE and the Tech
That
Ed
is
Tech
correct.
Department.
I worked for the Border Link project.
Yes.
And did that for 2 years.
Yes.
So it was a cool job. But you're right.
Yes, I think when did you leave ICOE?
2004.
2004.
That was
okay.
towards the end of that project. And so I went back to Holtville for 2004, 5, and
Okay.
6, and I've been here since 2007. So
Okay. Yeah, I was at ICOE for 2003 to 2006.
yep, exactly.
So, yeah. I was
exactly.
the ed tech director, or sorry, coordinator, not director, the coordinator. So,
Exactly. So, you said you got married way back when. Tell us more about your family.
my husband and I have been married for almost 37 years. It'll be
Impressive.
in June.
Wow.
We have 2 girls, and they're doing great. One is working on her degree for architecture, and our youngest is working on her master's to get some licenses in psychology. So,
Wow.
but they're doing really good.
Cool. And what are you going to do in retirement?
Well, my husband just bought me a set of golf clubs. So he loves to golf. He retired last year.
All right.
And sometimes I'll go home for lunch and he'll eat lunch with me. And he's like, I'm heading to the golf course. It's
Okay.
like, wow, must be nice. So I'm hoping to, I have played. I'm not the best, but so I want to get a little better and go out and golfing a lot more with him. So we want to travel. We have a trip planned in October to go to Italy.
Oh, nice. Have you been before?
No, I have
Okay.
not. So we're excited.
Definitely.
So a little bit of traveling, lots of golf, hopefully.
Hanging out with your daughters.
Yes, hanging out with the daughters and being able to, who knows where they're going to land, and just be able to just go and visit. Neither one of them are married,
Okay.
so no grandkids. Maybe one day,
Okay.
but no grandkids. So we're, have the freedom to just get up and go.
To do whatever.
Yes.
That's fabulous. Well, you've had a very long career, and you definitely deserve, all the good that's going to come with retirement. So
Yes, thank you. It seems that in the moment it goes a little slow, but towards the end it's like, wow, that went by very quick.
that is true.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jeanine.
All right. Thank you so much.
Now I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, and it's time to feel good. Hey, all right now, and it's time to feel good. Hey, yeah. I used to think maybe you love me. Now I know that it's true. And I don't wanna spend my whole life just waiting for you.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Welcome back to Valley Vibes. I am here with Mr. Grant Cutting today. And Grant, how long have you been with the district?
25 years.
25 years. Wow. So you and I met a long time ago, probably about 24 years ago.
About 24 years at County Office of Ed. Yeah.
That's correct. And you were teaching at Southwest. You've been, all of your years have been at Southwest, correct?
Except for this year where I'm teaching at Central and at Southwest.
And we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But and it seems like you were doing some type of special project. I'm trying to recall what it was. There was some type of project where we were videoing or doing something with your students. What was going on with that?
That was a physics class. They were doing a personal project where they found data or a topic, then researched it, and then were doing kind of a video. Now it'd be a YouTube video, right, where they'd present the information that they had found in a format so the other students could look at it. And then we did a gallery grade at the end of it where the students kind of compared each other's projects and we graded them.
And that was really fun. I enjoyed watching the process at that time, and I knew you were a great teacher at that point in time. And here we are, 24 years ago. Lots of mileage behind us, but 25 years in one place is a long time.
It's the longest I've spent doing one thing ever, yes.
I totally relate to that. Where were you before?
From the beginning or backwards mapping here?
That's up to you. I mean, however you want to go. You want to go from here and go back, or you want us to go from, I was born.
That's the best.
Okay.
So I was raised in Wisconsin. After high school, I went to a trade school for heavy industrial diesel mechanics. I worked for a while with my father on the farm, but we were a little bit too much alike, so it wasn't the greatest working relationship. I joined the Navy. That took me to Great Lakes, Illinois, north of Chicago. From there, I was stationed at San Diego on the USS Fife, DD-991, a Spruance-class destroyer. I was a gunner's mate technician. After the Navy, I got out and managed nightclubs for a while, and then transferred from a Navy Reserve unit into an Army Reserve unit, and I went active duty in the Army for, I think, a year and 11 months, about two years to go through training. I was an 18 Delta medic in the Army. And then I got out and went back to working in bars while I started college. I went to a junior college, Mesa in San Diego, and then transferred from there to Stanford University, and then came back to San Diego. And how I wound up here is I was living in an apartment complex. My landlord got old. His daughter convinced him to turn the property over to a property management company. I got a letter in the mail saying, your rent's going to go up $300 a month every 3 months for a year, effectively doubling the rent we were paying. At the same time, my wife got a job offer to transfer out here with Home Depot when the store opened. So we drove out, liked the look of the valley, agricultural, and moved out here, and that's how it all started. I never intended to teach, and then everywhere I went, people were like, what do you do? What do you blah, blah, blah? And I told them my background, and they said, we're short on teachers, short on teachers. I heard that about a dozen times. We're a shortage of teachers. And then I started subbing and then kind of fell into it, I guess you could say.
That's really, really fascinating. I mean, thank you. First off, thanks for your service.
Oh, you're welcome.
And, that's just, I did not know about the bartending. So you went from mixing drinks to, no, you're not a chemist. You're a physicist. So I was going to say you were mixing chemicals, but
I'm credentialed for all the sciences to teach. So I can do biology, which is what my degree is in, chemistry, physics, earth and space science too. So
that's just really, really, really cool. But and I can totally relate to the heavy equipment thing. As I grew up in north central Montana and grew up on a small farm. Halfway through my first year at college, I was kind of thinking I should go to Gillette, Wyoming, and be a diesel mechanic. And the only reason I didn't go was couldn't find a roommate. And But this isn't about me. This is about you. And
Maybe it's more about us.
well, it could be, but teachers come from a lot of different places a lot of times, and I think your experience in all those other areas makes you a great candidate to get along with all the personalities that we have to deal with.
And that's actually a good thing. This will sound like I'm teacher bashing. I'm not. But an acknowledgement has to be made that there's a large percentage of teachers who all they've ever done is teach. They loved the school environment when they were a kid in elementary school, and then they sucked up to the teacher, were teacher's pet, and they loved it even more. And then they, in high school, decided they wanted to be a teacher themselves. Then they went to college to be a teacher, and then they're back in the classroom, and they're somewhat one-dimensional. And when they look around a class and see a variety of different personalities that's not reflective of them and how they interacted with the teachers they had, then they are somewhat inflexible in dealing with people who view education differently than they did.
That is so true. That sounds like a lot of, I'm not going to put that towards this district. I don't need to get myself sideways here, but it sounds like a lot of administrators that we get to deal with throughout our academic lives.
One-dimensional, know what they know. And the great failing of people is when you ask them a question, they'll respond with, I know what I know, but it's a rare person who will admit they don't know what they don't know and are willing to be more flexible and fluid, dynamic on their feet and thinking to adapt, improvise, and overcome the problems that life throws at us.
So true. That is so true. And, and I appreciate how, your career has been as diverse as it is because, sometimes we do what we need to do, and have fun along the way.
Yeah, or we do what we think would make us happy or pay the rent, and then eventually we have to go through a process to figure out who we want to be and how we want to get there.
Wow, that is so true. So 25 years in here in education, what's next, Grant?
I'm moving back to Wisconsin to start farming.
Okay. What part of Wisconsin?
West central Wisconsin. If you know where Minneapolis-St. Paul is, I'd be 90 miles straight east of Minneapolis-St. Paul.
All right, yeah. That must be, reasonably close to St. Cloud, perhaps?
Menominee, Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls.
All right, very good.
Those three cities.
Yeah. And so the farm is primarily dairy, or what are you going to be farming?
It'll be beef cattle eventually. It's been fallow for more than 30 years. When I left for the Navy, my father decided to put it in a conservation reserve program. It was highly erodible land because it has slopes on it. So it's lied fallow for a long time now, and it's time to keep it in sod, but regenerate it, bring it back, and that'll require livestock. Most people don't realize that grazing animals and grass coexist really, really well. For grass to thrive, it needs to be grazed, right? And so if you just leave a grassland without grazers on it, it does deteriorate over time. So you have to bring things back into balance, kind of a natural thing.
That's cool. I'm very aware of that very same program. We, when I farmed for a couple of years in the early 80s. And
Tough times.
yeah, it was. It was like, 15% interest, 17% interest.
So
if you were
a lot
doing
of,
one.
A lot of auction sales of farmers going out of business.
Yeah, there were. And then you did have that push to put acreage back into sod, to Let It Go Fellow. And a lot of people did that and, went and did other things, such as yourself.
Yeah, and it worked out well for me, I think.
I do. I would agree. And, it's been just a phenomenal thing, getting to know you and have you as part of this, as a colleague in this district. Before we kind of close out here, what prompted you to want to come over and teach at Central as well? I mean, you're a longtime Eagle, and we all get along so well, don't we?
Well, there is a little bit of site animosity towards the other site, I suppose. I actually did not want to come to Central this year. It was the last thing I wanted to do. Yet sometimes life hands you a gift that you don't want to open and don't realize it is. So winding up here was one of the best things, right? I reconnected with a former student of mine, Faith Lagakis, now married. Faith Courier teaches here at Central, but she teaches at Southwest also. So I use her classroom in the morning when I'm here, and then we are fortunate to have a half an hour overlap or so when she gets here from Southwest before I leave to go to Southwest, and that's been the best part of it. So to see how a former student I taught chemistry to 15 years ago, or 12 years ago, I guess, has developed, and it's turned out to be a fabulous thing.
That is true, and we're really happy to have you over here. All jesting aside, it's like.
Well, and truth be told, the kids here are just as good as they are at Southwest. I've made, I think, a good start here, connecting with the students. And it's never where you are; it's who you're with that matters.
That is so true, and we're glad you're with us.
All right.
Thanks, Grant.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day.
All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling. You're in love with me. I said I'm hooked on a feeling, and I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
This program was produced and brought to you by Spartan Sound Productions. Congratulations to our CUHSD retirees. Thank you for recording with us. We wish you the very best as you move forward in your retirement. Thanks also to Dr. Thomas Tacky, creator and executive producer of Spartan Sound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School, Mr. Javier Fimbres, and Prime 98 for hosting us. And to you, the listeners.